Ladies and gentlemen, there is something truly powerful about a woman who chooses solitude over unnecessary distractions. She is not lonely, she is refining her mind, strengthening her spirit, and mastering her emotions. A woman who spends time alone is not weak, she is building herself into someone who cannot be controlled, manipulated, or broken. She does not seek validation from others because she has already given herself permission to be great. While the world is busy chasing attention, she is chasing growth, wisdom, and peace. She is selective about the people she allows into her life because she values her energy. She knows that not everyone deserves access to her thoughts, her emotions, or her presence. When a woman learns to enjoy her own company, she becomes self-sufficient. She makes decisions without fear. She walks through life with a level of confidence that is rare because her confidence does not come from compliments, relationships, or society's approval. It comes from within. You cannot shake a woman who has learned to stand alone. She does not beg for attention. She does not tolerate toxic relationships, and she does not waste her time on people who do not respect her value. And let me tell you something powerful, the woman who enjoys solitude is the most dangerous kind of woman. Not because she seeks harm, but because she controls her own destiny. She is driven, focused, and determined. She is the type of woman who builds success in silence and shocks the world with results. So if you are that woman, embrace it. Continue to grow, to evolve, to sharpen your mind. Because in a world that fears independent women, the most dangerous thing you can be is a woman who knows her worth. There is something truly powerful about a woman who chooses solitude over unnecessary distractions. She is not lonely, she is refining her mind, strengthening her spirit, and mastering her emotions. A woman who spends time alone is not weak. She is building herself into someone who cannot be controlled, manipulated, or broken. She does not seek validation from others because she has already given herself permission to be great. While the world is busy chasing attention, she is chasing growth, wisdom, and peace. She is selective about the people she allows into her life because she values her energy. She knows that not everyone deserves access to her thoughts, her emotions, or her presence. The woman who spends time alone understands that solitude is not emptiness, it is a sanctuary where she can hear her own voice, reflect on her purpose, and make decisions with clarity. When a woman learns to enjoy her own company, she becomes self-sufficient. She makes decisions without fear. She walks through life with a level of confidence that is rare because her confidence does not come from compliments, relationships, or society's approval. It comes from within. She is not waiting for someone to tell her she is worthy. She already knows her worth. She does not beg for attention because she has found something far more valuable in her peace. A woman who embraces solitude is in full control of her emotions. She has spent time understanding herself, recognizing her strengths, and improving her weaknesses. She is not easily swayed by emotions or external influences because she has mastered the art of self-awareness. When the world tells her she should be afraid of being alone, she smiles because she knows the truth. Solitude is where true power is built. It is where she sharpens her mind, strengthens her faith, and finds clarity in a world full of noise. This kind of woman is dangerous, not because she seeks harm, but because she cannot be manipulated. She is not desperate for companionship, which means no one can control her with false promises or temporary affection. She does not tolerate toxic relationships because she knows the value of her peace. She walks away from what no longer serves her, not out of arrogance, but because she understands that life is too short to entertain people who drain her energy. She does not chase, she attracts. She does not beg, she chooses. She does not fear being alone, she embraces it, knowing that solitude is the foundation of true strength. While others are distracted by temporary pleasures, she is focused on building her future. She is investing in herself, whether it is through education, personal growth, or spiritual development. She is reading, learning, and improving daily. She is the kind of woman who surprises people because while they were busy underestimating her, she was working in silence. She does not announce her every move. She lets her success speak for itself. The woman who spends time alone understands the power of selective relationships. She does not allow just anyone into her life because she knows that energy is contagious. She surrounds herself with people who uplift her, inspire her, and challenge her to be better. She does not entertain negativity or gossip because she has more important things to focus on. She understands that protecting her peace is a full-time job, and she does it with intention. And then there is something else, her faith. When Niall spends time alone, she develops a deeper relationship with God, with her purpose, and with herself. She listens to the whispers of her soul, follows her intuition, and trusts the journey she is on. She is not looking for external validation because she knows that everything she needs is already within her. She understands that solitude is a gift, not a punishment, and she uses it to grow into the best version of herself. The world is often uncomfortable with a woman who does not seek approval because she cannot be controlled. A woman who enjoys her own company does not depend on others for happiness. She creates her own joy. She does not seek permission to be successful. She builds her own path. She does not wait for someone to recognize her worth. She walks with confidence, knowing that she is already enough. She is dangerous because she is free. Free from the need to be liked, free from the fear of being alone, free from the expectations that society places on women. She has stepped into her power, and that kind of power is unstoppable. She is not easily broken, not easily influenced, and not easily controlled. She is the kind of woman who walks into a room and commands respect, not because she demands it, but because she embodies it. If you are that woman, embrace it. Do not let the world convince you that solitude is a weakness. It is your greatest strength. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep building yourself into the person you were meant to be. Because in a world that fears independent women, the most dangerous thing you can be is a woman who knows her worth. Thank you. Emotional intelligence is one of the most powerful traits a woman can develop, and solitude is the key to unlocking it. A woman who spends time alone is not distracted by the noise of the world. Instead, she takes the time to understand herself on a deeper level. She listens to her thoughts, reflects on her experiences, and becomes fully aware of her emotions. While many people fear being alone because it forces them to confront their inner struggles, she embraces it. She uses her solitude as an opportunity for self-exploration, asking herself important questions. What makes her happy? What drains her energy? What are her deepest desires and fears? She gains clarity about who she is and what she wants in life. A woman who has mastered emotional intelligence does not react impulsively to situations. She has learned to process her emotions before responding. When someone tries to provoke her, she does not lash out in anger. Instead, she pauses, evaluates the situation, and responds with wisdom. She does not allow negativity to control her mood because she understands that emotions are powerful, but they should never be in the driver's seat of her life. She has trained herself to remain calm under pressure, to think before she speaks, and to handle difficult situations with grace. She also recognizes the difference between temporary feelings and long-term values. Just because something feels good in the moment does not mean it aligns with her true purpose. She does not make decisions based on fleeting emotions. She makes them based on wisdom and discernment. She knows that emotions can be deceiving, and that is why she spends time reflecting before making major choices. This level of awareness protects her from impulsive decisions that could lead to regret. Because she has developed such a deep understanding of herself, she does not allow others to manipulate her emotions. Many people in this world seek control over others by playing on their emotions, using guilt, fear, or flattery to get what they want. But she is not easily swayed. She sees through manipulation tactics because she has spent enough time alone to recognize what genuine love, respect, and honesty look like. She knows how to set boundaries, and she is not afraid to enforce them. She does not entertain toxic relationships or tolerate disrespect. She values her peace far too much to allow anyone to disrupt it. Her ability to regulate her emotions also means that she is not dependent on external validation. She does not need constant reassurance from others to feel good about herself. She has spent enough time alone to build unshakable self-confidence from within. While many people seek approval from social media, relationships, or society, she does not fall into that trap. She does not measure her worth by how many people like her, how many compliments she receives, or how much attention she gets. She knows that true confidence is built from self-awareness, self-respect, and self-discipline. A woman who has developed emotional intelligence through solitude also has a remarkable ability to understand others. Because she has spent time studying her own emotions, she can recognize emotions in others. She can sense when someone is being genuine and when they are being deceptive. She can read between the lines, noticing the subtle cues in people's behavior that others often miss. This ability makes her an excellent judge of character, allowing her to build strong, meaningful relationships while avoiding those who do not have good intentions. This level of awareness also gives her the power to remain in control of her life. She does not let past traumas define her, nor does she allow negative experiences to turn her into a bitter person. Instead, she learns from every experience, taking the lessons and leaving the pain behind. She understands that emotions are meant to guide her, not imprison her. She allows herself to feel, but does not let emotions dictate her actions. When she faces challenges, she does not crumble under pressure. Instead, she processes her emotions, finds solutions, and moves forward with strength. Another remarkable trait of a woman with high emotional intelligence is that she does not hold on to negativity. She knows that harboring resentment, jealousy, or anger only drains her energy. She forgives, not because others always deserve it, but because she deserves peace. She lets go of toxic attachments, refusing to carry the weight of past disappointments. She does not waste her energy trying to change people who do not want to change. Instead, she focuses on herself, on her growth, and on her journey. She also understands the power of patience. Many people become frustrated when things do not happen immediately, but she knows that great things take time. She does not rush into decisions, relationships, or opportunities out of desperation. She is willing to wait for what aligns with her values and her vision for life. She knows that anything forced is not meant for her. She remains focused, consistent, and patient, trusting that everything will unfold at the right time. And perhaps the most powerful thing about a woman with high emotional intelligence is that she is unbreakable. She has spent time alone facing her fears, overcoming self-doubt, and learning to trust herself. She does not need external circumstances to define her happiness. Whether she is in a relationship or single, successful or still climbing, she remains steady. She does not crumble under pressure or lose herself trying to fit into societal expectations. She has built herself from the inside out, and because of that, no setback, no criticism, and no rejection can destroy her. A woman who has mastered her emotions is truly unstoppable. She walks with grace, speaks with wisdom, and moves with confidence. She does not allow life's ups and downs to shake her because she has built a solid foundation within herself. She knows who she is, and that knowledge gives her power. In a world that often seeks to control women through their emotions, the most dangerous thing a woman can be is emotionally intelligent. Because when she is in control of herself, she is in control of her destiny. A woman who spends time alone understands the true value of independence. She does not rely on others to define her worth, to validate her choices, or to provide her with a sense of identity. Instead, she has learned to stand on her own, to think for herself, and to trust her own decisions. While many people fear solitude because it forces them to confront their inner thoughts, she embraces it. She sees solitude as an opportunity to grow, to develop, and to strengthen her mind. She does not feel the need to constantly seek company or approval because she has cultivated a deep and unshakable relationship with herself. Independence is not just about financial stability or the ability to live alone. It is about a mindset. A truly independent woman does not depend on others for emotional security. She does not need constant reassurance from friends, family, or a partner to feel confident in herself. She has learned to validate herself, to trust her own instincts, and to rely on her own wisdom. When she makes a decision, she does not seek approval from others. She simply follows what she knows to be right. She understands that not everyone will agree with her choices, and she is perfectly fine with that. Her independence also means that she is not afraid of solitude. She does not view being alone as a weakness or something to be pitied. She sees it as a time to recharge, to reflect, and to focus on her own goals. She does not need to fill every moment with social interactions or distractions. She is comfortable in her own company. And because of that, she does not settle for relationships or friendships that do not serve her growth. She would rather be alone than be surrounded by people who do not add value to her life. This level of independence makes her incredibly strong. She does not crumble in the face of challenges because she has trained herself to rely on her own strength. When difficulties arise, she does not immediately run to others for help. Instead, she takes a moment to assess the situation, to think critically, and to find her own solutions. She has developed the ability to face problems head-on without feeling overwhelmed or defeated. She knows that every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger, to learn, and to become even more self-sufficient. Because of her independent nature, she is not easily influenced by societal expectations. She does not feel pressured to follow the traditional path if it does not align with her values. She does not conform just to fit in or to be accepted. She creates her own path, one that is built on her own beliefs, desires, and aspirations. While others may feel the need to follow trends, seek approval, or live up to external expectations, she remains firm in who she is. She does not chase after things that do not resonate with her soul. She also understands the power of self-sufficiency. She does not wait for someone else to take care of her needs. If something needs to be done, she finds a way to do it. If she has a dream, she pursues it with determination. She does not wait for the perfect conditions, for the right people, or for someone to give her permission. She takes action. She builds her own success step by step with patience and persistence. She knows that true independence comes from taking responsibility for her own life. This self-sufficiency also means that she does not tolerate unhealthy relationships. She does not cling to people out of fear of being alone. She does not entertain toxic behavior just to have companionship. She values her peace and her well-being far too much to allow anyone to disrupt them. She walks away from anything that does not serve her highest good. She does not fear losing people because she knows that she is whole on her own. She understands that the right relationships will complement her life, not complete it. A woman who spends time alone also has a strong sense of self-respect. She knows her worth and she does not compromise it for anyone. She does not lower her standards or settle for less than she deserves. She sets boundaries and enforces them without hesitation. She does not allow others to take advantage of her time, her energy, or her kindness. She values herself, and because of that, others learn to respect her as well. Her independence also allows her to be selective about the people she allows into her life. She does not surround herself with just anyone. She chooses relationships that are built on mutual respect, trust, and genuine connection. She is not impressed by superficial charm or empty promises. She looks for depth, for authenticity, for people who align with her values. She would rather have a few meaningful relationships than a large circle of acquaintances who do not truly understand her. Perhaps the most powerful thing about an independent woman is that she is not afraid to walk alone. She does not need constant companionship to feel fulfilled. She does not fear being single, traveling alone, or making decisions for herself. She embraces her freedom, knowing that it gives her the ability to shape her own destiny. She does not wait for someone to lead her. She leads herself. She does not seek permission to live her life on her own terms. She simply does it. This level of independence makes her incredibly powerful. She is not easily swayed by external circumstances. She does not fall apart when things do not go as planned. She adapts, she adjusts, and she moves forward with confidence. She knows that her strength comes from within, and because of that, she is unstoppable. She is a force to be reckoned with, not because she is aggressive or dominant, but because she is in control of herself. She does not allow life to dictate her path. She creates her own future. A woman who has embraced independence is truly dangerous in the best way possible. She is not controlled by fear, by insecurity, or by the opinions of others. She moves with purpose, with clarity, and with self-assurance. She knows what she wants, and she is not afraid to go after it. She is a reminder that true strength comes from within, that confidence is built through self-reliance, and that the most powerful woman is the one who knows she does not need anyone to complete her because she is already whole. A woman who spends time alone is someone who has learned to cultivate deep emotional intelligence. She is not afraid to face her own thoughts, emotions, or insecurities. Instead, she embraces them, understands them, and uses them as tools for personal growth. While many people avoid solitude because it forces them to confront difficult feelings, she welcomes it. She knows that self-awareness is one of the most powerful strengths a person can possess. She is in tune with her emotions, recognizing when she needs to rest, when she needs to push forward, and when she needs to make changes in her life. She does not ignore her feelings or suppress them. Instead, she processes them with wisdom and patience. Because she spends time alone, she has developed a strong sense of self-reflection. She does not need others to tell her who she is or what she should be doing. She takes the time to analyze her actions, thoughts, and decisions, making sure they align with her values. This self-reflection allows her to grow continuously, learning from her mistakes and improving herself without external validation. She does not repeat the same errors over and over again because she takes the time to understand her patterns and adjust accordingly. Her emotional intelligence makes her incredibly resilient. She does not crumble under pressure or become overwhelmed by challenges. Instead, she has learned to regulate her emotions, to remain calm under stress, and to navigate difficulties with a clear mind. She understands that life is full of ups and downs, and she does not allow temporary setbacks to define her. She processes her emotions in a healthy way, ensuring that she does not react impulsively or let negativity consume her. She has also mastered the ability to be comfortable with her own company. Unlike those who constantly seek external distractions to avoid their own thoughts, she has learned to enjoy solitude. She does not feel lonely when she is alone. Instead, she finds peace in it. She uses her alone time to reflect, recharge, and nurture her well-being. This makes her emotionally stable as she does not rely on others to fill an emotional void. She does not need external validation to feel worthy or complete. Her ability to process emotions effectively also means that she is not easily manipulated. She can recognize when someone is trying to take advantage of her emotions, whether it be through guilt, flattery, or false promises. She does not fall for empty words or deceptive actions. She can see through facades and detect insincerity because she understands human behavior deeply. This protects her from toxic relationships as she does not allow anyone to emotionally control or manipulate her. Because she has spent time understanding herself, she also understands others. She can read people well, sensing their intentions and emotions even when they try to hide them. This makes her an excellent judge of character, allowing her to surround herself with people who are genuine and trustworthy. She does not waste time on superficial relationships or meaningless interactions. She values depth, authenticity, and sincerity in the people she chooses to have in her life. Her emotional intelligence also makes her a great communicator. She knows how to express her feelings clearly and assertively without being aggressive or defensive. She does not let emotions cloud her judgment, ensuring that she communicates with logic and reason. When she speaks, she does so with purpose, choosing her words carefully and intentionally. She does not engage in unnecessary drama or emotional outbursts. Instead, she addresses issues with maturity and wisdom. Another powerful trait of a woman who spends time alone is that she has developed strong emotional boundaries. She does not allow others to drain her energy or take advantage of her kindness. She is compassionate, but she knows when to step back and protect her own well-being. She does not let guilt force her into situations that do not align with her values. She knows how to say no without feeling bad about it. She understands that protecting her energy is necessary for her growth and happiness. She is also not afraid of facing difficult emotions. Many people avoid their true feelings out of fear, suppressing sadness, anger, or disappointment. However, she knows that emotions are meant to be felt and processed, not ignored. She allows herself to experience every emotion fully, understanding that this is how she heals and moves forward. She does not run from pain or discomfort. She faces it head on and grows from it. Because of her deep emotional intelligence, she is incredibly self-aware. She knows her triggers, her weaknesses, and her strengths. She does not let past experiences define her, but she does learn from them. She uses her past as a guide, not as a burden. She does not hold on to grudges or allow resentment to take root in her heart. Instead, she forgives, not for others, but for herself, so that she can continue to move forward without emotional baggage. Her ability to regulate emotions also makes her a powerful presence in any environment. She is not reactive, she is responsive. She does not let people provoke her or push her into unnecessary conflicts. She chooses her battles wisely, ensuring that her energy is spent only on things that truly matter. She is graceful under pressure, maintaining her composure even in the most difficult situations. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about her emotional intelligence is that it allows her to live a life of purpose and meaning. She does not let fear, insecurity, or doubt control her decisions. She follows her intuition and trusts her journey. She understands that emotions are powerful tools when managed correctly, and she uses them to create a fulfilling and balanced life. She does not let temporary emotions dictate her long-term goals. Instead, she remains focused, disciplined, and aligned with her true purpose. A woman who has mastered emotional intelligence is truly dangerous, not because she is aggressive or dominant, but because she cannot be easily shaken. She has built herself from within, creating a strong foundation that cannot be broken by external circumstances. She is wise, self-assured, and emotionally resilient. She moves through life with confidence, knowing that she is in control of her own destiny. She does not let emotions control her, she controls them, and because of that, she is unstoppable. A woman who embraces solitude is someone who has discovered the immense power of self-discipline. She has learned that true growth comes not from external distractions, but from internal focus and consistency. She does not rely on others to push her forward or keep her accountable. Instead, she holds herself to high standards and follows through with her commitments. She understands that discipline is the foundation of success, and because of this, she structures her life with intentionality. She sets goals and diligently works toward them, even when motivation fades. She does not allow temporary emotions or fleeting desires to dictate her actions. Instead, she prioritizes what is necessary over what is easy, knowing that true strength is built in moments of discomfort and challenge. She has developed a routine that aligns with her ambitions. She wakes up with purpose, making the most of each day without wasting time on meaningless distractions. While others may procrastinate, waiting for the right moment to take action, she understands that the right moment is now. She does not wait for inspiration to strike. She creates her own momentum through disciplined action. She has trained herself to follow through on her commitments, even when no one is watching. Her work ethic is not dependent on external validation, but on a deep sense of responsibility to herself. Because she has mastered self-discipline, she is in control of her time. She does not allow herself to be pulled in different directions by external pressures or societal expectations. She prioritizes what truly matters and removes anything that does not align with her values. She understands the importance of saying no, protecting her energy, and focusing on her long-term vision. She does not allow distractions to pull her away from her purpose. While others may indulge in temporary pleasures that bring no real value, she remains committed to the habits that bring her closer to her goals. Her discipline extends beyond just her actions. It is reflected in her mindset. She has trained her mind to resist negativity, doubt, and fear. She does not allow herself to be consumed by excuses or self-pity. When challenges arise, she does not retreat. She confronts them with determination. She understands that setbacks are not failures, but opportunities to grow stronger. She has developed mental toughness, allowing her to navigate difficulties with grace and resilience. She does not let temporary discomforts discourage her. Instead, she embraces challenges as necessary stepping stones to success. Because she spends time alone, she has developed an unshakable inner strength. She does not rely on others for motivation or validation. She has built the ability to push through difficulties without needing external encouragement. She has learned to be her own source of strength, her own coach, and her own cheerleader. While others may need constant reassurance or approval, she has cultivated a self-sufficient mindset that allows her to keep moving forward regardless of outside opinions. Her self-discipline also extends to her emotions. She does not let her feelings control her actions. She understands that emotions are temporary and that true success requires consistency, even when she does not feel like it. While others may give into impulses, letting their emotions dictate their decisions, she remains in control. She does not allow temporary discomforts to pull her away from her path. She has learned to delay gratification, choosing long-term success over short-term pleasure. She applies discipline to every aspect of her life, from her physical health to her personal growth. She takes care of her body, understanding that strength and energy are necessary for success. She does not neglect her well-being for the sake of convenience. She maintains healthy habits, staying committed to routines that nurture her mind and body. She prioritizes learning, constantly expanding her knowledge and skills. She does not waste time on gossip or negativity, but invests her energy in personal development. Because of her self-discipline, she does not fear being alone. She does not need distractions to feel fulfilled. She has built a life of meaning, filled with purpose-driven actions and intentional choices. She does not seek entertainment to escape reality. She builds a reality that she does not need to escape from. Her discipline has given her the freedom to create the life she desires without being dependent on external factors. Her ability to remain consistent in her efforts makes her incredibly powerful. While many start with enthusiasm but lose momentum over time, she persists. She understands that true success is not about bursts of effort but about sustained action over time. She does not allow temporary difficulties to derail her. She remains steadfast, knowing that consistency is the key to achieving anything worthwhile. A woman who has mastered self-discipline is unstoppable. She does not rely on motivation, external validation, or fleeting inspiration. She has built the ability to take action regardless of circumstances. She is in control of her mind, her actions, and her destiny. She does not let distractions, fears, or societal pressures dictate her life. She moves forward with purpose, knowing that the discipline she has cultivated will always be her greatest strength. A woman who embraces solitude is a woman who has unlocked the power of self-awareness. She understands herself on a deeper level because she has taken the time to reflect, analyze, and grow. In a world that constantly seeks noise and distraction, she has chosen silence as her greatest tool for self-discovery. While many people fear being alone because it forces them to face their thoughts, she welcomes solitude as a sacred space where she can truly listen to herself. She does not seek validation from others because she has already validated herself. She does not feel the need to fit into societal expectations because she knows who she is and what she stands for. Her ability to be alone without feeling lonely comes from the fact that she has built a strong relationship with herself. She understands that self-awareness is the key to making the right decisions, forming healthy relationships, and setting boundaries that protect her peace. She does not waste time trying to impress people or seeking approval because she knows that external validation is temporary, but inner confidence lasts forever. She does not allow herself to be controlled by the opinions of others because she trusts her own judgment. She has developed an ability to observe her thoughts without being controlled by them. While others may react impulsively to emotions, she takes a step back, reflects, and responds with wisdom. She does not allow fear, doubt, or insecurity to dictate her actions. Instead, she recognizes these emotions, understands their source, and consciously chooses a response that aligns with her values and goals. She has learned to silence the inner critic that tries to discourage her and replace it with an inner voice of encouragement and strength. Because she has spent time alone, she has learned to trust her intuition. She does not need external confirmation to know what is right for her. She listens to her inner guidance and makes decisions based on what truly aligns with her purpose. She does not rush into relationships, commitments, or situations that do not serve her because she has learned to recognize when something does not feel right. Her intuition is sharp because she has spent time understanding herself and what she truly needs. Self-awareness has given her clarity. She knows what she wants, what she will tolerate, and what she will never accept. She does not entertain toxic relationships, manipulative behaviors, or situations that drain her energy. She has set high standards for herself and for those she allows into her life. She does not lower her standards just to fit in or please others. She values her time and energy, and she is not afraid to walk away from anything that does not align with her self-worth. Her discipline extends beyond just her actions. It is reflected in her mindset. She has trained her mind to resist negativity, doubt, and fear. She does not allow herself to be consumed by excuses or self-pity. When challenges arise, she does not retreat. She confronts them with determination. She understands that setbacks are not failures but opportunities to grow stronger. She has developed mental toughness, allowing her to navigate difficulties with grace and resilience. She does not let temporary discomforts discourage her. Instead, she embraces challenges as necessary stepping stones to success. Because she spends time alone, she has developed an unshakable inner strength. She does not rely on others for motivation or validation. She has built the ability to push through difficulties without needing external encouragement. She has learned to be her own source of strength, her own coach, and her own cheerleader. While others may need constant reassurance or approval, she has cultivated a self-sufficient mindset that allows her to keep moving forward regardless of outside opinions. Her self-discipline also extends to her emotions. She does not let her feelings control her actions. She understands that emotions are temporary and that true success requires consistency, even when she does not feel like it. While others may give in to impulses, letting their emotions dictate their decisions, she remains in control. She does not allow temporary discomforts to pull her away from her path. She has learned to delay gratification, choosing long-term success over short-term pleasure. She applies discipline to every aspect of her life, from her physical health to her personal growth. She takes care of her body, understanding that strength and energy are necessary for success. She does not neglect her well-being for the sake of convenience. She maintains healthy habits, staying committed to routines that nurture her mind and body. She prioritizes learning, constantly expanding her knowledge and skills. She does not waste time on gossip or negativity, but invests her energy in personal development. Because of her self-discipline, she does not fear being alone. She does not need distractions to feel fulfilled. She has built a life of meaning, filled with purpose-driven actions and intentional choices. She does not seek entertainment to escape reality. She builds a reality that she does not need to escape from. Her discipline has given her the freedom to create the life she desires without being dependent on external factors. Her ability to remain consistent in her efforts makes her incredibly powerful. While many start with enthusiasm but lose momentum over time, she persists. She understands that true success is not about bursts of effort but about sustained action over time. She does not allow temporary difficulties to derail her. She remains steadfast, knowing that consistency is the key to achieving anything worthwhile. A woman who has mastered self-discipline is unstoppable. She does not rely on motivation, external validation, or fleeting inspiration. She has built the ability to take action regardless of circumstances. She is in control of her mind, her actions, and her destiny. She does not let distractions, fears, or societal pressures dictate her life. She moves forward with purpose, knowing that the discipline she has cultivated will always be her greatest strength. A woman who embraces solitude is a woman who has unlocked the power of self-awareness. She understands herself on a deeper level because she has taken the time to reflect, analyze, and grow. In a world that constantly seeks noise and distraction, she has chosen silence as her greatest tool for self-discovery. While many people fear being alone because it forces them to face their thoughts, she welcomes solitude as a sacred space where she can truly listen to herself. She does not seek validation from others because she has already validated herself. She does not feel the need to fit into societal expectations because she knows who she is and what she stands for. Her ability to be alone without feeling lonely comes from the fact that she has built a strong relationship with herself. She understands that self-awareness is the key to making the right decisions, forming healthy relationships, and setting boundaries that protect her peace. She does not waste time trying to impress people or seeking approval because she knows that external validation is temporary, but inner confidence lasts forever. She does not allow herself to be controlled by the opinions of others because she trusts her own judgment. She has developed an ability to observe her thoughts without being controlled by them. While others may react impulsively to emotions, she takes a step back, reflects, and responds with wisdom. She does not allow fear, doubt, or insecurity to dictate her actions. Instead, she recognizes these emotions, understands their source, and consciously chooses a response that aligns with her values and goals. She has learned to silence the inner critic that tries to discourage her and replace it with an inner voice of encouragement and strength. Because she has spent time alone, she has learned to trust her intuition. She does not need external confirmation to know what is right for her. She listens to her inner guidance and makes decisions based on what truly aligns with her purpose. She does not rush into relationships, commitments, or situations that do not serve her because she has learned to recognize when something does not feel right. Her intuition is sharp because she has spent time understanding herself and what she truly needs. Self-awareness has given her clarity. She knows what she wants, what she will tolerate, and what she will never accept. She does not entertain toxic relationships, manipulative behaviors, or situations that drain her energy. She has set high standards for herself and for those she allows into her life. She does not lower her standards just to fit in or please others. She values her time and energy, and she is not afraid to walk away from anything that does not align with her self-worth. She has developed the ability to hold herself accountable. She does not blame others for her problems or make excuses for her shortcomings. Instead, she takes full responsibility for her actions and choices. She knows that growth comes from acknowledging mistakes and learning from them. She does not dwell on the past or play the victim. She focuses on solutions and moving forward. She has the self-awareness to recognize patterns in her behavior and make necessary adjustments to improve herself continuously. A woman with deep self-awareness is not easily influenced by external pressures. She does not fall into the trap of comparison because she understands that everyone is on their own unique journey. She does not measure her worth based on societal expectations or superficial achievements. She defines success on her own terms based on what truly fulfills her. She does not feel the need to compete with others because she is too focused on becoming the best version of herself. She has learned the importance of emotional intelligence. She understands her emotions and does not suppress them. But she also does not allow them to control her. She acknowledges her feelings, processes them, and channels them into something productive. She does not react out of anger, jealousy, or frustration. Instead, she approaches situations with patience, understanding, and wisdom. She does not engage in unnecessary drama or negativity because she values her peace above all else. Because she knows herself so well, she is able to form deeper and more meaningful connections with others. She does not engage in surface-level interactions or relationships that lack depth. She seeks connections that are based on authenticity, mutual respect, and shared values. She does not chase people or beg for attention because she understands that the right relationships will align naturally. She is selective about who she allows into her life, ensuring that every connection adds value rather than drains her. A woman who has developed deep self-awareness is a force to be reckoned with. She is confident, independent, and unshaken by external circumstances. She moves through life with purpose, clarity, and inner peace. She does not need to seek approval because she has already given herself permission to be exactly who she is. She does not allow fear, doubt, or external pressures to define her path. She trusts herself, honors her worth, and stands firmly in her truth. Her power comes not from external validation, but from the deep knowing of who she truly is. A woman who spends time alone is a woman who has mastered emotional independence. She does not rely on others to fill a void or provide her with happiness. She has cultivated a deep sense of inner fulfillment, knowing that true joy comes from within and not from external sources. While many seek companionship out of fear of being alone, she embraces solitude because it allows her to grow, reflect, and strengthen herself emotionally. She does not need validation from others to feel complete. Instead, she has built a strong foundation of self-worth that remains unshaken by outside influences. She has learned to manage her emotions without depending on anyone else to regulate them for her. When she faces challenges, she does not seek distractions or temporary escapes. She faces her emotions head-on, allowing herself to process them fully and move forward with clarity. She does not avoid difficult feelings but acknowledges them, learns from them, and emerges stronger. She understands that emotional independence is not about suppressing emotions but about having the strength to navigate them with wisdom and self-awareness. Because she does not rely on others for emotional stability, she is incredibly resilient. She does not fall apart in the face of adversity. Instead, she approaches difficulties with a calm and composed mindset. She does not expect others to rescue her or fix her problems. She takes full responsibility for her emotional well-being and does not place that burden on anyone else. While others may crumble under pressure, she remains steadfast because she has trained herself to handle challenges independently. Her emotional independence allows her to make decisions with clarity and confidence. She is not easily influenced by outside opinions or pressured into making choices that do not align with her values. She trusts her own judgment and does not seek constant reassurance. She understands that true confidence comes from within, not from external approval. She does not need others to tell her what she is worth because she already knows. She carries herself with quiet confidence, unshaken by criticism or doubt. She has set strong emotional boundaries. She does not allow others to manipulate her, guilt-trip her, or take advantage of her kindness. She understands the importance of protecting her energy and does not tolerate relationships that drain her emotionally. While she is kind and compassionate, she does not allow herself to be used or disrespected. She has learned to say no without feeling guilty. She knows that prioritizing her emotional well-being is not selfish but necessary. Because she does not rely on others to make her happy, she is not afraid to walk away from anything that no longer serves her. She does not stay in toxic relationships out of fear of being alone. She does not tolerate mistreatment just to have company. She values her peace more than anything and is not afraid to distance herself from negativity. She understands that being alone is far better than being in a situation that drains her emotionally. Her emotional independence makes her a rare and powerful force. Many people rely on external factors to determine their happiness, whether it's relationships, social status, or material possessions. But she has freed herself from that dependency. Her happiness is not conditional. It is not based on whether others approve of her or whether she meets society's expectations. She has found fulfillment in her own growth, her own journey, and her own accomplishments. Because she does not expect others to fulfill her emotionally, she enters relationships from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. She does not seek a partner to complete her, but rather to complement her. She does not cling to people out of fear of loneliness. She chooses her connections carefully, ensuring they add value to her life rather than serve as a temporary emotional crutch. She is capable of deep love and connection, but she never sacrifices her self-respect or independence in the process. She is unshaken by rejection or setbacks because she does not base her self-worth on external circumstances. When things do not go as planned, she does not spiral into self-doubt. She understands that failures and disappointments are a part of life, but they do not define her. She has built an unbreakable foundation of self-belief, allowing her to rise above challenges without losing herself in the process. A woman who has mastered emotional independence is truly unstoppable. She is not swayed by temporary emotions, external expectations, or the fear of being alone. She moves through life with confidence, knowing that she is in full control of her own happiness. She does not rely on anyone to save her, fix her, or complete her, because she has already done that for herself. She is strong, resilient, and self-sufficient, and that makes her one of the most powerful individuals in any room. A woman who spends time alone cultivates a profound sense of self-discipline that sets her apart from others. She understands that discipline is the foundation of success, personal growth, inner peace. While many rely on external motivation or accountability from others, she has trained herself to remain consistent and committed to her goals regardless of circumstances. She does not wait for the perfect moment to act. She creates structure in her life and follows through with her commitments, even when no one is watching. She has mastered the art of self-control. She does not allow fleeting emotions to dictate her actions. While others may give in to distractions, procrastination, or impulsive decisions, she remains focused and intentional. She knows that true power comes from the ability to delay gratification, to stay committed to long-term goals even when the journey is difficult. She does not seek shortcuts or easy ways out because she understands that lasting success is built through patience, persistence, and unwavering discipline. Her ability to stay disciplined is what allows her to achieve her goals. She does not waste time on meaningless distractions or seek constant entertainment to fill a void. Instead, she uses her alone time to work on her passions, to build her skills, and to push herself to new levels of excellence. She wakes up each day with a clear purpose and follows a structured plan that keeps her aligned with her ambitions. She does not allow laziness or complacency to take control of her life. She understands that discipline is not about perfection, but about consistently showing up and making progress. She has developed a strong sense of responsibility. She does not blame external circumstances or other people for her failures. Instead, she takes full ownership of her actions and decisions. She understands that the only person who can change her life is herself, and she refuses to make excuses. When things go wrong, she does not dwell on the problem. She focuses on finding solutions. Her mindset is centered on growth and self-improvement rather than complaining or seeking pity. Her discipline extends to all areas of her life. She takes care of her physical health, knowing that a strong body supports a strong mind. She follows a routine that prioritizes exercise, nutrition, and self-care. She does not allow unhealthy habits to control her because she understands the long-term consequences of neglecting her well-being. She is mindful of what she consumes, whether it be food, media, or conversations, because she knows that everything she allows into her life has an impact on her mindset and energy. She applies the same discipline to her relationships. She does not entertain toxic connections or allow negative influences to disrupt her peace. She is selective about who she allows into her life, ensuring that every relationship is built on mutual respect and genuine connection. She does not tolerate drama or manipulation because she values her time and emotional well-being too much to engage in anything that drains her energy. This approach often backfires, as many emotionally mature women see silence as a lack of effort rather than a sign of desirability. Healthy relationships thrive on open communication, not manipulation or mind games. Emotional confusion can also contribute to a man's silence. He may crave a woman but feel conflicted about what he truly wants. Perhaps he is unsure whether his feelings are strong enough to pursue a relationship, or maybe he is battling internal doubts about whether he is ready for something serious. When a man is unsure of his own emotions, he may withdraw instead of seeking clarity. He needs time to sort through his feelings, but in doing so, he leaves the woman in a state of uncertainty. External influences can also shape a man's silence. Friends, family, or cultural expectations might discourage him from acting on his desires. He may crave a woman deeply but feel pressure from those around him to focus on other aspects of his life. If he comes from a background where relationships are not prioritized, or if he has been advised to remain emotionally detached, he might suppress his feelings rather than act on them. His silence is not necessarily a reflection of how he feels about her, but rather an indication of the external pressures influencing his decisions. Some men remain silent because they fear losing control. When a man desires a woman intensely, he may feel that expressing his emotions gives her power over him. If he is someone who values control in his life, he might resist opening up because he does not want to feel emotionally dependent on another person. His silence is his way of maintaining a sense of autonomy, even if it means denying himself the connection he craves. At times, silence is a reflection of emotional immaturity. Not all men have developed the emotional intelligence to navigate relationships in a healthy way. He may crave a woman, but instead of communicating his feelings directly, he shuts down or avoids confrontation. This lack of emotional awareness makes it difficult for him to express himself effectively, leading to confusion and frustration for the woman involved. Growth and self-awareness are necessary for a man to overcome these patterns and develop healthier ways of engaging in relationships. For women, understanding a man's silence is crucial in determining the best course of action. If a man craves her but remains silent, she must recognize that it is not her responsibility to decode his behavior or wait endlessly for him to speak up. A relationship should be built on mutual effort, emotional availability, and clear communication. If a man is unable or unwilling to express his feelings, she must decide whether his silence is something she is willing to tolerate, or if she deserves someone who will openly acknowledge and pursue her. A woman should never settle for uncertainty when she is capable of attracting a love that is confident, direct, and intentional. When a man craves a woman but remains silent, it creates an emotional paradox that many women struggle to understand. Society often teaches that if a man desires something, he will go after it with confidence and determination. However, reality is far more complex. A man's silence in the face of his own longing is not necessarily a sign of disinterest, nor is it always a game of manipulation. Instead, it often reflects deep internal struggles, conflicting emotions, or ingrained fears that prevent him from acting on his desires. One of the biggest reasons a man may remain silent despite craving a woman is his battle with his own emotions. Many men are not taught how to process or express deep feelings. From a young age, they are conditioned to believe that vulnerability is a weakness and that showing too much interest in someone can make them seem needy or desperate. As a result, when they feel a strong attraction to someone, they may not know how to handle it. They suppress their emotions, choosing silence over expression, not because they do not care, but because they have never learned a healthy way to communicate what they feel. Fear of rejection is another powerful factor. Even men who appear outwardly confident can struggle with self-doubt, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. If a man deeply craves a woman but is unsure of how she feels about him, he may hesitate to make a move. The thought of putting himself out there and facing rejection can be paralyzing, so instead of taking action, he chooses to remain silent. He convinces himself that avoiding the possibility of rejection is better than risking the pain of being turned down, even though his silence only leads to missed opportunities. Past wounds also play a major role in a man's reluctance to speak up. If he has experienced heartbreak, betrayal, or emotional manipulation in previous relationships, he may approach new romantic interests with caution. The scars of the past can make him hesitant to fully express himself, fearing that history might repeat itself. Even if he deeply desires a woman, he may hold back, struggling to trust that this time will be different. His silence is not a reflection of his lack of desire, but rather a self-protective measure born from previous pain. Some men remain silent because they are unsure about what they truly want. Desire alone is not always enough to push someone into action. A man may crave a woman on a deep level, but if he is conflicted about his readiness for a relationship, he may hesitate to pursue her. Perhaps he is dealing with personal struggles, career ambitions, or unresolved emotions that make him feel uncertain about entering a relationship. His silence becomes a reflection of his inner turmoil, not a lack of attraction. He may care deeply, But until he finds clarity within himself, he will continue to hold back. Timing is another crucial factor that influences a man's silence. A man might crave a woman intensely, but recognize that the timing is not right. Maybe he is going through a difficult phase in life, dealing with responsibilities that require his full attention, or simply not in a place where he can offer the emotional investment a relationship demands. In these cases, his silence is not about rejecting the woman he desires, but about making a difficult choice based on circumstances. He may feel that stepping forward now would be unfair to her, so he chooses distance over disappointment. For some men, silence is a form of control. They fear that if they reveal the depth of their emotions, they will lose power in the relationship dynamic. They worry that expressing their feelings too openly might make them seem too available, reducing their perceived value. This mindset is often influenced by outdated dating advice that promotes emotional detachment as a way to maintain an upper hand. Unfortunately, this approach often leads to misunderstandings and unnecessary emotional strain. In reality, relationships thrive on mutual openness and honesty, not calculated silence. A man's silence can also stem from his fear of losing independence. Some men equate deep emotional involvement with a loss of personal freedom. They may crave a woman deeply but worry that pursuing a relationship with her will lead to expectations and responsibilities they are not ready for. Instead of navigating these fears through communication, they choose to remain silent, avoiding a situation that forces them to confront their own insecurities. This fear of commitment does not mean they do not care, but it does mean they struggle to reconcile their emotions with their perceived need for independence. Sometimes, silence is simply a result of emotional immaturity. Not all men have developed the self-awareness or communication skills needed to express their feelings in a healthy way. They may crave a woman, but instead of engaging with her honestly, they avoid difficult conversations, hoping the situation will resolve itself. This passive approach leaves the woman feeling confused, waiting for clarity that may never come. Emotional growth is essential for breaking this pattern. But until a man learns to take responsibility for his emotions, he will continue to rely on silence as a coping mechanism. The presence of external influences can also contribute to a man's reluctance to express his desires. Friends, family, or cultural expectations may discourage him from pursuing the woman he craves. He may feel pressured to focus on other areas of his life or to adhere to certain societal standards that make him question whether he should act on his feelings. His silence in these cases is not necessarily about his personal desires, but about the expectations placed upon him by those around him. For a woman dealing with a silent man who craves her, the most important thing to understand is that his silence is not a reflection of her worth. It is easy to internalize someone's lack of communication as a sign that they do not care enough, but in reality, his silence often stems from his own fears, insecurities, or unresolved emotions. She must decide whether she is willing to wait for him to work through his struggles, or if she deserves a love that does not require decoding. Healthy relationships are built on clarity and mutual effort, not on uncertainty and mixed signals. If a man craves her but cannot express it, she must recognize that it is not her responsibility to fix or change him. She deserves someone who can show up fully, communicate openly, and embrace the connection with confidence. When a man craves a woman but remains silent, it is easy to assume that he is simply uninterested or playing mind games. However, the truth is often far more complex. Human emotions are layered, and silence can be a reflection of deep internal conflicts, fears, or even subconscious defense mechanisms. While it may seem confusing or frustrating, understanding the deeper reasons behind his silence can provide clarity and peace of mind. The reality is that desire alone is not always enough to propel someone into action. Emotional barriers, past experiences, and personal insecurities can all play a role in preventing a man from openly expressing his feelings. One of the primary reasons a man may crave a woman but not act on it is the fear of vulnerability. Many men are conditioned from an early age to suppress their emotions and present themselves as strong and self-sufficient. Admitting deep feelings, especially feelings of desire or love, requires a level of openness that some men struggle with. They may fear that showing too much interest will make them appear weak or expose them to potential emotional pain. As a result, even when they deeply desire a woman, they may choose to remain silent, hoping that their feelings will either fade or become easier to manage. Another significant reason for a man's silence is uncertainty about the woman's feelings. Even confident men experience moments of doubt, and if he is unsure whether his interest is reciprocated, he may hesitate to take action. No one enjoys rejection, and for some men, the mere possibility of being turned down is enough to keep them from speaking up. Instead of risking embarrassment or disappointment, they convince themselves that staying silent is the safer option. This hesitation can create an endless cycle where both people are left wondering about each other's intentions, resulting in missed opportunities for connection. Past heartbreak can also play a major role in a man's reluctance to express his feelings. If he has experienced deep emotional pain from a previous relationship, he may carry those scars into new interactions. He might crave love but fear repeating past mistakes. The thought of opening himself up only to be hurt again can be overwhelming. This emotional baggage causes some men to build walls around themselves, even when they feel a strong attraction to someone new. Their silence is not a lack of desire, but rather a self-protective measure to avoid reliving old wounds. Timing is another crucial factor. Sometimes a man craves a woman but recognizes that the timing is not right. He might be dealing with personal struggles, career ambitions, or unresolved issues that prevent him from fully investing in a relationship. He may feel an internal conflict wanting to be with her, but knowing he cannot give her the time and energy she deserves. In these cases, his silence is not about disinterest, but about responsibility. He may choose to distance himself rather than enter into something he cannot fully commit to. There are also men who remain silent because they are still figuring out what they truly want. Desire can be confusing, especially when mixed with other emotions. He may be physically attracted to a woman, but unsure if he wants a long-term relationship. He may enjoy her presence, but feel uncertain about taking things further. Instead of navigating these emotions openly, he chooses to remain silent until he can make sense of his own feelings. Unfortunately, this can leave the woman feeling confused, misreading his silence as disinterest, when in reality, he is simply processing his emotions internally. For some men, silence is a strategy. They believe that withholding their emotions gives them control over the situation. This belief often stems from past experiences or misguided dating advice that teaches them to appear detached to maintain an upper hand. They fear that if they express too much interest, they will lose value in the woman's eyes. While this kind of thinking may work in casual dating dynamics, it ultimately leads to shallow connections and unnecessary emotional games. Genuine relationships thrive on honesty. And any man who truly values a woman will understand that withholding his emotions only creates distance. Some men equate deep emotional involvement with a loss of independence. They may crave a woman but worry that being with her will lead to expectations and responsibilities they are not ready for. This fear of commitment is not necessarily about the woman herself, but about his own internal struggles. He may resist his feelings because he associates relationships with limitation rather than partnership. Until he shifts his perspective, his silence will remain a barrier to deeper connection. Emotional immaturity can also be a factor. Not all men have developed the ability to communicate their feelings in a healthy way. Some men lack the emotional intelligence needed to navigate deep attraction, so they avoid difficult conversations altogether. They assume that staying silent is easier than addressing their emotions, unaware that their lack of communication leaves the woman feeling confused and unappreciated. Emotional growth takes time, and unless he actively works on his ability to express himself, he will continue to struggle with relationships. External influences can also contribute to a man's silence. Friends, family, or cultural expectations may discourage him from pursuing a woman he craves. He may feel pressured to focus on other aspects of his life, such as his career or personal growth, and worry that a relationship will distract him from his goals. In these cases, his silence is not a reflection of his feelings, but rather a result of external pressures shaping his decisions. For a woman dealing with a silent man who craves her, it is important to remember that his silence is not about her worth. It is easy to internalize someone's lack of communication as a sign that they do not care enough, but often it is about his own struggles. She must decide whether she wants to wait for him to overcome his fears or move forward with her life. Healthy relationships are built on mutual effort, not on confusion and mixed signals. A man who truly values her will find the courage to communicate. And if he does not, she must recognize that she deserves someone who will.